Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be counting down my top 10 miniatures of 2019. Now, what do I mean by top 10 miniatures? Well, full disclosure here, I'm putting full bias into this. I'm putting my favorites in here, so if your favorite isn't on the list, it doesn't mean your favorite is bad. It just might not be on my list. Also, do want to remind you guys about Luxury Playstyle. If you're in the market for some fantastic tokens, Luxury Playstyle has the most amazing full metal double-sided tokens for your games you can find. They have tokens for XWing, they've got tokens for Keyforge, they've got Arkham, they've got lots of the L5R, and there's always new stuff coming out. They just came out with a whole new line of XWing tokens for Focus, Calculate, and Evade as well. You can save 15% if you use my code Crabbok VIP. Absolutely fantastic tokens, so you can check them out. I'm also using these for Legion as well. I use the shields tokens from X-Wings as shields. They're flipped, they're perfect for it. I use the charged tokens for suppression. They have damage tokens for Keyforge, which are great, just damage tokens all around. Amazing way to spice up your battlefield and make sure you don't confuse your tokens with somebody else's tokens. Very cool stuff. So check out luxuryplaystyle.com and you can use my code CrabbokVIP. Save 15%. All right, so with that said, I am going to be doing the top 10 miniatures countdown. Also, I do have a giveaway winner to announce for the 12 Days of Life Day. That's going to be at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. If you're interested in winning one of the 12 giveaways for the 12 Days of Life Day, all you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. You can win yourself. So this one, well, this is not in my top 10, but it's an honorable mention because I reserve the right to put my own stuff on here. Now, what is this right here? This is Clone Commander Crabbok. This started out as an April Fool's joke by Masters of the Force, MOTF. They basically did like a Clone Wars unboxing back on, for April Fool's Day. And Mel Miniatures actually sculpted this, and you can actually find this on his shop. But this was one of it was one of the coolest things ever, and basically it was modeled to basically be me as in clone armor with lightsaber nunchucks, and so he's actually holding nunchucks and they're lightsabers, and the beam is on, and they're only coming out about so far, which is like, it's perfect. It's absolutely wonderful. It's one of the coolest miniatures I've ever seen. But since it's not really an official mini for a put out by a game company, I'm like, oh, okay, but I had to put it as an honorable mention. So, Clone Commander Crabbok is awesome. I'm also going to put links to all the videos where I reviewed all of this stuff down in the description below. You're going to be able to find those as well. It's pretty cool stuff. There we go. All right, so coming in at number 10. At number 10 is going to be the redesigned Ghost for X-Wing 2nd Edition. Now, this one, I love what they did with it. I love the improvements that were made, but it ranks a little lower on my list primarily because it is a kind of an older model that they just retooled. They added an extra section on this, but the work they did was phenomenal. So the Ghost is already a cool miniature. It's very big, so it's, and some people might say it's hard to call something like that's this big a miniature, but what they did here is they made a lot of improvements to both the base. The base fits it, is more sturdier, and also the fact that you can now dock. So this miniature is now functional. You can actually dock the Sheathapede shuttle. It comes with it too, so extra great value and an expansion. And you can actually fit this, and it also allows room for future docking if they do the attack shuttle and make the wings fold up, and it could potentially fit into the same docking area as well. It just turned this into such a beautiful, functionally very, very cool miniature. I love what they did here. So very, very happy to have, this thing dock. Also, this whole expansion was great because they fixed the base and they got the better arc on there now. So it's just, you got the turret arc that actually works. So overall, great miniature. Number 10, redesigned Ghost 2.0. Number 9 is for Zombicide, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles expansion, specifically the Michelangelo miniature. Well, why? Because nunchucks, folks. That's right. I told you bias is on here. I am reserving the right to elevate nunchucks into my top 10. Zombicide is a fun game. It's a game I like. I actually reviewed these just recently, but I love this take on the Ninja Turtles, and I love that he's dual-wielding nunchucks, and he is full of flair. I mean, I like the entire set. Like, it's basically 2 expansions that have both Ninja Turtles and also Ninja Turtle villains that you can use in Zombicide. I love the fact that it's a crossover. I love crossovers, and mixing franchises is very, very cool. But I love the Ninja Turtles, and then how they're all green too, because in that game all your heroes are all different colors. They made all the Ninja Turtles green. But yeah, no, and this one's unpainted too. I want to point out one thing. While I'm using photos in this, most of these are my own paint jobs, and they're not. I'm not the best painter, so don't hold it against me, especially when it comes into this next one, which is not one of my best paint jobs, but the mini is great, so don't let my terrible paint job fool you. So we're going to move on to number 8, which is the Marvel Crisis Protocol, Captain America. And this one was really tough for me to choose. Again, not my best work. I had some issues with these miniatures of some improper priming. It kind of screwed up some of the detail, and I had to correct it and then salvage the miniatures. If you want to see a paint job that really does this model justice, check out Sarostro's video to Captain America. It's absolutely spectacular and makes it look way better than I could ever make it look. But, that being said, fun miniature to paint. Love it. I love so much about the detail that they put on these. I also love that you had the shield as the separate piece, and it really is very, very comfortable for modeling because you can put the shield on the other hand if you want. You can change up the way that you build him. Really, really cool miniature. Love, and I love Captain America too. I've been a Captain America fan for years and years, even before they made the Captain America movie in the MCU. So I am, I gotta be pro Cap. Gotta be pro Cap. Granted, a lot of the Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures are great. It's a great line, but I went with Cap for this one, primarily because I really liked the shield and it was a challenge to paint. And if you see what Sarostro did with Cap's shield, he put this shine effect on it. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. So, yeah, Captain America from Atomic Mass Games, Marvel Crisis Protocol. So we have. Number 7? Yeah, 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, we're at Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Clone Wars, Star Wars Legion, the Essen Convention exclusive. This one was a little bit tricky because I kind of feel like these convention exclusives are so limited that is it unfair to include them on a top 10 list? And then I came to the conclusion, no, it's not fair. Or it's totally fair because it's my own list. I can do whatever I want. So I'm putting the Obi-Wan exclusive on here. Great mini. I do hope Fantasy Flight re-releases these to the general public at some point, and I will continue to advocate for that because they're great sculpts. It says Obi-Wan Kenobi in his episode 3 appearance. I mean, we already get clone armored, General Kenobi in the core set, which is awesome, by the way. But this one is kind of the version I always wanted. I love his post. I love his form. I love the sculpt. Again, my paint job probably doesn't even do it justice. And it has a pretty cool, extra cool designer base, which his pose allows you to use the base or to not use the base and just put him on a regular base. I will say I'm not actually a big a fan of this base as I might have been. So while the Obi-Wan sculpt is amazing, while it's a fantastic miniature, it's resin miniature too, I'm not as big a fan of the base because the scaffolding, makes it harder to actually move around the battlefield. But it more than makes up for it, the fact that it's Obi-Wan. I mean, I do start all my videos with hello there, right? And this is exactly what he wore in that classic scene, right? But also, it's Clone Wars and it's Legion. It's one of my favorite games, and it's a great sculpt. And it's rare too, which is kind of cool, but at the same time really stinks for anybody who wanted one and can't get them. So, gotta push for FFG to change up the way they do these exclusives. This sculpt needs to be available for everybody. I will continue to advocate for that, and that's something that hopefully that does happen and gets fixed in the future. So, on to our, let's see, 10, 9, 8, 7. That was number 7. Let's jump to number 6. I should have put numbers on these so I could just say it. Number 6 is the WizKids Deep Cut Deep Space Nine. Now, this one was a little tricky also because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, this came out a long time ago, but it didn't. Actually, the Deep Cut Deep Space Nine was from January, so it feels like it was so long ago. At least I got it in January. That's when I first saw it available and got it. So now, while the Deep Space Nine expansion for Star Trek Attack Wing came out years and years and years ago. They came out with this deep cuts line where they started re-releasing things where it was like a better sculpt. It was not painted, and you get it with just like white primer on it. So it's like the cuts are deeper, like it's got more detail, like sculpted into the station, and then it's primed for you to be able to paint it yourself, which I then did while I still had a working airbrush, and I think it came out really, really well. I spent a lot of time on this station. I spent more time painting this station than I ever spent on anything else. And this is one of those paint jobs that I'm actually proud of. I actually really, really like this one, and I'm happy to display it and just show it off, because I think it came out pretty well. I think for some reason just doing ships and space stations and stuff, things that are kind of like monotone, are just easier for me to do. I don't know. But sometimes I do a decent job with spaceships, harder job with people that have faces. Maybe that's it. Space, not face. Terrible dad joke. What's with the dad jokes lately? Must be the fact that I have so many kids. Anyway, no, absolutely love this this miniature, and it's so big, it's hard. It's like the size of a basketball. It's huge, but it's also perfectly in scale with Star Wars Armada, or that I absolutely love that about it. It makes for some really cool scenarios and just good decoration too. You can back your Star Destroyers up to it perfectly. Oh, it's magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. One of the best things to ever come out of WizKids right here. Absolutely love it. So, that was number 5. Let's move on to number 4. This one is another Star Wars Legion entry. This one's a little different because this one is actually a retail. The Clone Wars core set came out this year, and in that we got General Grievous. And General Grievous, he's awesome. He's absolutely... Now, mine is modified a little bit. And again, my paint job here isn't the greatest ever, but my point is, General Grievous is a fantastic step forward for Fantasy Flight Games, because they switched to this hard plastic. All of their droids are on this hard plastic now, and Grievous is kind of getting with the program for better quality miniatures, because he's got the joints and you can pose his arms however you want, and you can build him multiple different ways. You can build him with his cloak, without his cloak, with a blaster, with both double arms closed together or opened apart, in any other combination. You can have him have a single lightsaber in one hand, double lightsabers in the other hand. You can have pistol and double lightsabers. You can build him however you want, and that's awesome. And then the modders have gotten crazy with him too, and had his feet holding lightsabers like from the old animated bit. But just amazing step forward for Fantasy Flight, and the fact that it's available to everybody is also really, really cool. So General Grievous coming in at number 4. Wait, no, number 5. Is that number 5? Yeah, I think that's number 5. I'm off on my numbers, and you know what? That's fine. It's my own top 10. I can have 11 in my top 10, or whatever. If I do it wrong, that's okay. Because I all right. So number 4, the Joan of Arc. Time of Legends Joan of Arc from Mythic Games put out the Legendary Dragon expansion as part of their Kickstarter for Joan of Arc, that you could get in either Joan of Arc or the Joan of Arc 1.5. And this one took me by surprise, because it was so very big. I can't even get it all in a picture, if I wanted to capture any of its detail at all. It's absolutely massive. I've used it as a central terrain piece in Star Wars Legion, because it takes up so much of my entire table. It's huge and glorious, and it's... Granted, Joan of Arc is like a 10mm game or a 15mm game, but this dragon is big enough to eat 35mm people. It's just that big. It's like as big as it's bigger than a baby. That's for sure. It's absolutely massive. The wingspan on this thing is like 10 feet wide. No, maybe like 2.5 feet wide or something like that. It's huge. It's absolutely huge, and it's gorgeous. It's got a lot of detail. Again, my paint job here, not the greatest. I think I went with like a Spyro the Dragon kind of theme, but I had fun with it. This is one that I started to airbrush, and my airbrush finally broke and was broken beyond repair. So then I had to do like partial airbrush, partial hand painting, and I wasn't super thrilled with the end result, but. It is what it is, and it's still kind of cool. But there are better paint jobs out there for it. So again, don't use my paint job to draw complete justification on the Mini. The Mini is majestic. I do have a slight complaint, because it could have easily been number 1, because it is so big and so gorgeous. Is that the wings don't want to stay in. They're separate pieces, but the Mini's so heavy because it's so big that the wings will sometimes actually fall out because the grooves weren't deep enough. So a lot of people had to kind of put rods in there. I glued mine in, and then that's fine. But it'd be nice if you didn't have to glue them in, because it becomes very difficult to store this thing because it's got these giant wings and it's awkwardly posed. So I will never actually be able to store this now unless I rip the wings out. Because it's too awkwardly sized. And I mean, I guess that's a good problem to have, because who'd want to put this thing away? I keep it up on a shelf on full display. But yeah, it's almost too big. But that's something else. All right, so number 3, we're in the top 3 now. Now this is a tough list to make because, hey, that's great stuff, and I love all of these minis. And I love so many minis. It's hard to pick. But we're going back to Star Wars Legion for something that also might be controversial, and that's the Star Wars Celebration exclusive Darth Vader. This was their first con exclusive that was a unique sculpt and had a fancy base on it, and this one does a lot of really weird things. First off, super power pose from Vader. He's doing this force ability. He's moving things around, and the terrain, the earth is being elevated. He's almost got like a Goku thing going on where he's powered up at like Super Saiyan 16, which we've never seen before. And all of a sudden the rocks are kind of just levitating up off the ground. He's summoning the power of the Force here. He's also a full resin mini. Was Star Wars Celebration con exclusive. They only made 500 of them, and again, this is a problem. That so many people couldn't get it, and even the people who went to Star Wars Celebration couldn't get it. And they just need to make these things more widely available. They need to be able to make more of them than only 500 at a time. And I'm not a big fan of having ultra limited release stuff. I would rather be a time-based release. Like, even if if the problem is, hey, we're not sure, we'll have enough or whatever, don't make any. Just put it up for pre-order during the convention, and anybody who goes online can order it, lock it in. Once the convention's over, then you turn off sales. Okay, we had 10,000 people order it. Okay, let's make 10,000, or maybe 10,003, so we can give some out to special, some prize winners or tournament winners or something like that. But that's when you determine how you're going to make them. So I suggest don't make them first and then bring them to the con. If it's going to be ultra limited and you're afraid, just go to the con, sell them in advance, then print them afterwards. I would be down for that. But I'm curious, maybe different people have different opinions, So, but I'm anything that gives people the opportunity to get them and not kind of screw people out of a really cool sculpt, I am in favor of. Or maybe early access at the con, and then we'll make more later. So if you can't get it at the con, you can get it next year. And this may even happen. I know there was a thing with the con rights for something to be con exclusive. It had to be exclusive for a year. So maybe once 2020, halfway through 2020 comes around, that maybe we'll see, hey, you know what, this is going to be available again. Or maybe it'll be available in hard plastic instead of resin. You still probably get very close to the same quality. So I would be fine with that. We'll see. We'll have to see. All right, on to number 2. You guys got any guesses yet? Do you guys got any guesses? All right. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments below if you guessed any of these correctly, or what you guessed wrong, or what you thought should have been on here that wasn't on here. We'll see. XWing 2nd edition redesigned B-Wing for number 2. Absolutely love this. Now, this one is more than just a redesign. It's more than the Ghost, where they just kind of retooled one part. They redid the whole thing on this thing. This thing has so many moving parts. A lot of people in X-Wing 1st edition, kind of put little magnets on the back of their B-Wing so they could just spin it around however they wanted to. Well, they did more than that, because yes, the base where it connects to the back is totally gyroscopic. It spins around. But in addition to that, the cockpit also spins around to adjust with that. They didn't have to do it that far, but the fact that they did is awesome. And on top of that, it also has movable S-foils. It doesn't even need those. Granted, it probably will next year, but it doesn't even need those. Not right now, anyway. Right? So, they put 3 separate moving parts. Well, technically 4, because there's 2 S-foils. 4 moving parts on this thing. Absolutely incredible. 4 moving parts on a miniature. And we're talking about moving parts that are so small, you need a microscope to see them. They're absolutely incredible. And it's a B-Wing, which is the greatest ship in all of Star Wars, so they get extra points for that. And they also give it an updated paint job on top of all those other things. So it's hard to just call this a reprint when the ship has changed so drastically. It's basically an all-new ship at this point, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Greatest ship in X-Wing, greatest ship in Star Wars. Love it. Love it. Number 1. Any guesses? Any guesses? All right. Number 1 is the Super Star Destroyer for Star Wars Armada. I bet you some of you guys guessed it. You may be thinking, well, that's as big as a viola. It's as big as a rifle or as big as a short sword. It is. It's still a miniature because it should be, as big as the moon. It's absolutely no. It's incredible. It's the greatest miniature I've ever seen, and I've waited so long for it. It had no other place other than the top of my list. The Super Star Destroyer for Star Wars Armada is the biggest miniature that has, I think, ever been made, at least by Fantasy Flight, by a long time. Oh, yeah, kids going crazy. But yeah, it's the biggest miniature they've ever done. It's absolutely a game changer too, and it comes with 4 different ship cards. The box for this thing was so big they had to come up with like a whole new way to make boxes. Absolutely magnificent miniature. And I'm absolutely in love with it. And I guess that's my list. So I'm curious from you guys, what do you guys think about the list? What should have been on here that wasn't on here? I recognize that, we're not seeing anything from Games Workshop on here. And, that's why I said it's my own list. I don't play 40K. I don't play, War Machine or things like that. So there's a lot of popular minis games that I just don't play, so they didn't make my list. Doesn't mean that they're bad. Just means they didn't make my list. So I'm curious if you guys had any overlap with my list, since I know a lot of you guys that follow me do play Star Wars games, and not everything on here was a Star Wars game. I tried to branch out a little bit, but that's kind of like under the umbrella of things that I'm interested in. That's kind of what made my list. So let me know. Also, there is still time to enter. Also, we have a giveaway winner to announce. Today's winner is going to win a $40 gift card for Luxury Playstyle. $40 gift card. You can go ahead and get yourself some tokens. And this is courtesy of Luxury Playstyle. This is actually provided by them. So big thanks to Luxury Playstyle for sponsoring this channel and also for sponsoring this giveaway here for a $40 Luxury Playstyle gift card. And yeah, just go ahead and, let me say who is the winner? Who is the winner? That's going to be Jonathan Reyes. Jonathan Reyes, congratulations. You won the $40 Luxury Playstyle gift card. You can get yourself some tokens. And don't forget to use code Crabbok VIP and save 15%. So just go ahead and shoot me a message. You can find that on the About page of my YouTube channel or on the Contact Me page on Crabbok.com. And I'll get your details and we'll get you squared away. Congratulations. Everybody else, there's plenty of time left. We got lots more giveaways to go, and hopefully you win something really cool. I want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing. Anything that does not get claimed come January is going to roll over into Patreon giveaways. So you guys are going to get all the normal stuff you get plus extra giveaways. Oh my goodness. Also, I'm looking to add some new rewards to Patreon in 2020. So that'll be fun. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.